All right, so we're recording now, and today we're going to be going over technical proposals. We had, I believe, like a 3 or 4 hour session yesterday doing the same thing. So I would suggest to watch that video first. You can find that on our YouTube channel and maybe in some other places. If you're watching this on MS Stream, we'll have it on MS Stream. And if you want to follow along and learn as we're doing this and participate, then you'll need a Focus Pass to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and share this in a few places before we start sharing our screen. And we should be able to wrap up quite a bit in this proposal today. We made it quite far last time. Telling people where they can find us on YouTube if they want to follow along on the live view. Ah, there it is. Okay, I feel like I'm ready to rock and roll. All right, I'm going to start sharing my actual screen with you. I'll share it with my viewers. There we go. Now you should see the screen. Now viewers can see the screen. We're ready to rock and roll. You can see it, right? Okay, so to pick up on where we were yesterday, we have our Word document. Now we have two Word documents. We have our original one that we called Tech Proposal. We have our new one called Executive Summary. It shouldn't be called Executive Summary. I just messed up on that, but we're keeping it anyway. This is our new document. And essentially, I'm going through and I'm reading this. Oh, where are we? Is it this file? No, it's not this guy. Not that guy. Here we go. It's this one. So we went on the main website where they're giving us the request, and we have the application guide. So I'm going over the application guide, and I'm just looking at each piece and seeing what it wants, and very meticulously I'm answering every single question from top to bottom. So let's right align this file, and let's left align our executive summary. Okay, so let's go back from the top. I already did this morning, but let's look at it anyway. So this is looking a lot better now. Our table of contents shows B, C, C4, D. So that's very well in line with what they have up here. All of this kind of stuff. But I'm going to go through, and the standard 424 form, we'll come back to that later. We're mainly going to be working on B through L, or B through M, and try to get as much of that aligned with this. And I want to get that out of my mind to where I feel like, you know, each one of these is checked off. Some of these are going to take an hour alone, just for one tiny piece, and I'm going to skip over the ones that take a whole hour. But some of the others that only take 3 minutes or whatever, I'm going to fill them in. You following with me? Okay. So let's look why this project is needed. So the reason we gave that title is because right here, a description of why the project is needed. And that one's done. I read it over this morning. I think it looks good. So moving on. Addressing the need. Anytime Word gives me highlights, I'm going to see why. We look forward to attaining. Okay, I'll change that. So yeah, I read over this one. It looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. But let me just make sure we cover everything here. An explanation of how the applicant will address the needs cited. Why the applicant requires financial assistance. So do we talk about why we need assistance? Yeah, purchase relevant coursework, purchase required equipment. Yeah, that says why. And the type of education or medical services. Do we say the type? I guess we cover STEM up here. Let's see. I think I want to add the word STEM in here somewhere as well. To achieve this objective, how the applicant will address the needs cited. Okay, so we will provide access to digital STEM literacy programs, to augmented reality equipment, VR classrooms, and artificial intelligence coursework. Okay, the online platforms of learning are feasible because they're both cost-effective as well as available to large audiences at one time. We will build additional coursework at our end user sites to access the hub sites, digital STEM literacy programs. I'm still working on it. Each site will also provide access to augmented reality equipment, VR classrooms, and artificial intelligence coursework. Okay, this looks good. Moving on. So, who we are and the benefits to be offered by the projects and the benefits. To be offered and the benefits to rural residents. Maybe I add some benefits. Rural residents will benefit by an increase in STEM literacy and learn the tools needed to join the skilled technical workforce. I'm going to combine that sentence. Well, maybe I won't combine it. It's going to mess up my next page because I had this page all perfectly laid out. Look, now he has 2 bullet points down here. Ooh, good point. Alright, so that means that my table up here is just too big. I'll delete this whole line out. We're going to update our table later anyway. There we go. Now it's looking way better. Well, now I have too much room. But I don't mind that. If this starts in right here, that actually is a good flow. It looks fine. Then it comes down. So something that I did do today. So last night, Suzanne and I were looking at the 10 big ideas given by the National Science Foundation. And one reason we were looking at that we just want to align our ideas. I mean, I wouldn't say we're a small nonprofit, but definitely in comparison to the National Science Foundation, we're very, very small. And we don't want to come up with our own ideas. We just want to see what these huge organizations have in mind, and we want to be a component and stand on the shoulders of those giants. So I picked apart, how many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 out of their 10 big ideas we have in here. The only one we don't have is studying the Arctic ice. And I mean, I'm almost tempted to just bring on a scientist to study the Arctic ice just to say that we do all 10 of them. And I do believe, climate control and studying what's happening in there, that could give a lot of answers. We're doing deep space exploration, so it does make sense that we should be doing deep sea exploration as well. We're just not equipped to do it right now. So anyway, I put 9 of them on here that I know we are going to be doing. And yeah, I did work on this a little bit today. I updated this area, I updated this area. So I feel a lot better with our 3 transports we have. They really tightened up a lot. So let's move on to, who we are. We're on number 3, who we are. It says a description of the applicant and documenting eligibility. Is a 501c3 NGO. Okay, I think that's good. And I also added information about Appalachia, that we were in the Appalachia region, because we also looked at that ARC thing yesterday, and that flowed well there. Okay, so now let's move on. An explanation of the total project cost. A description of the applicant. Okay, so I don't know if this is relevant for the applicant. Does that even matter? That's not really who we are, is it? Like, shouldn't who we are just be these 2 and that's it? Am I accurate on that? Okay, well, let's figure out where these should be and we'll move them probably. So a description of the applicant, documenting our eligibility. Okay, an explanation of the total project cost with a breakdown of the grant required and the source of matching contribution, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we need to provide all of that on number 4. Instead of worrying about all of these, I want to figure out where I should move this stuff to right now, because it's just out of place. I don't think it needs to be there. So let's read through. A statement, whether the project is this, a statement specifying whether it's that, an overview of the telecommunications, a description of the participating hubs, the relationship of the applicant with the hubs, a certificate, and a listing of that. Well, I don't think it needs to be in here anywhere. What do you think? Alright, well, I'm going to take all that out. I just cut it into my clipboard. And I don't want to lose it though, because I did spend some good time on there. So let me scroll down and see where else. Well, let me scroll up actually. Somewhere in here. Scope of work. I bet it belongs in scope of work. So let's move down to section E on our page. Well, I'm going to scroll back up. So scope of work. Yeah, it looks like that's the best one. Okay, let's find section E. We're on D, E. Scope of work. So up above all of this. And we'll start out with a paragraph saying we have 3 different transports, which are these 3. And then we'll break those down. Yeah, we'll have to clean this up later. I'll add some spacing in there so that this gets on its own page. Okay, so again, we're going from the very top. Who we are. And let's scroll back up on this document to see who we are. Okay. So number 3 is a description of us and our eligibility. Okay, number 4. So, don't know what I'm going to do with this. Yeah, that looks good. So number 4, an explanation of the total project cost, including a breakdown of the grant required and the source of matching contributions. We have a new approach to project management. So an explanation of the project cost and a breakdown of the grant required. Okay. I think that beginning paragraph, it's a little off topic, but we're going to keep it anyway. I think it does show why we use this orbit system. So I'm fine with that. Okay, and we're going to have to update these budgets, but let's just get the format of this all put together. And let's see what we might be missing. An explanation of the project cost. So down here is a good explanation of it. It's that amount, including a breakdown of the grant required. So yeah, that's a breakdown. And the source of matching contribution. So we have the source down here, known as Microsoft, saying they're providing us that matching. And where else are we? And other financial assistance for the remainder of the project. Okay, so other financial assistance for the remainder of the project. So I'm going to say membership fees paid by students along with sponsorship by corporations will be used to continue this project indefinitely after the initial 3-year term. So that's not really financial assistance, but it does just paint a better picture of how that is going to continue playing out. Cool? Okay, number 5. A statement specifying whether we are distant learning as defined by this. If it provides both that and that, then we must identify the predominant use. So we just have one sentence. This is distant learning, done. Okay, moving on. Special consideration. I think we have that one too. I just want to really double check it. A statement specifying whether it is a request for STEM education. So yes, we have the word STEM education. And also if it's an opportunity zone. So yeah, we said this project is requesting special consideration as this project is both in an opportunity zone has end user sites in opportunity zones, and it is providing STEM education. Okay, telecommunication system. This is one that's going to take me an hour to do, so that's the one I said I want to skip for now. I have to make a whole map and show how all those schools are connected with each other. And we actually have a lot of that finished already. And just to, like, if you were going to do this on your own without me, I just want you to feel empowered how you could do that. You could, let me get a new browser here. You could go on the Focus Hive just to understand our transport a little bit better. And you can scroll down, and we do have this map here. This is one map that breaks down a lot of the software we're using, how things are interconnected. Now, this isn't the best. It's better to have a very custom one. So I'm going to be creating a custom one and talking exactly about how each piece of software matches with each other. But my point is, if I'm not around, you're doing it on your own, that would be sufficient. All right, so anyway, we're going back here. So we're on number 7, and we're skipping it for now. And let's look at number 8. Participating site descriptions. A description of the participant hubs and the number of rural residents that will be served by the project at each end-user site. So I think this is pretty good. I don't like that it's on 2 different pages, so I'm going to, let's just see what else we can add. So a description of the participating hubs. 2 locations. Okay, so Dow Cottage is the main participating hub. In Marietta, Ohio. So it wants a description of the participating hubs. It is equipped with innovative technology and a fiber optic network designed for to host distant learning programs. It will act as a hub site and an end-user site. Other participating end-user sites consists of another location serving Washington County, Ohio, a location in Meigs County, Ohio, along with 2 locations in Jackson County, West Virginia. And then we continue with this with the population served. So let's see if that's good enough. So number 8, a description of the hubs and end-user sites. A description of them. And the number of rural residents. A description of them. Yeah, I think this is good enough. It breaks down. I'm fine with that. What do you think? Hello? Did you disappear? Fell asleep on me. On the technical page, you're saying we wrote more over here? You just mean this kind of stuff? I think since this is an executive summary, I just don't think they want very much. I would assume, yeah, that they want very little. But yeah, we will cover that later. All right, well, let's move on. Let's discuss the relationship of the applicant with the participating hubs and the end-user sites, and if the applicant is going to be filed as an informal consortium. Okay, this is also where I got confused. I noticed today that my titles were wrong. Like this one said Dow Learning Consortium. That one also said Dow Learning Consortium. So I was like, whoa, I messed up. I just copied and pasted. So I came back this morning and I didn't get around to it, but it looks like number 10's wrong. I need to turn this into a certification, which I got the description right. I just need to change the title up there. So I think I'm going to call this non-duplicate facility certification. Sounds good to me. I'm going to finish my vitamins first. Yeah, I think I can see your cursor here. Did you change anything right there? No, that's definitely your cursor. Mine's down here. Your cursor, my cursor. Okay, so non-duplicate. I think that's what it's going to say. Non-duplicate facility or something. Non-duplicate facility certification. Okay, that looks good. So a certification by the applicant that facilities constructed with the grants do not duplicate established services. Okay, so I'm just going to write in here. I don't know if this needs to be more formal than this. We certify that facilities constructed with grants do not duplicate this, this, and that. Good enough for me. And maybe somewhere, I mean, they don't say like there is a form you have to fill out and attach here. So I guess that's fine for me. Right. I mean, you think they'd say, take Appendix A, sign it, and attach it right there. Okay, so moving on. A listing of the location of each end user site, plus the state. So we did that. I'm going to say below is a listing of the location of each end user site. Okay, and I don't think we need points in here, so we're going to delete that. Delete column. Move this into the center a little bit better. Oh, if it'll let me. Maybe not. Fine, it's stuck over there. Maybe I can center the whole thing. Okay. Alright, so then it says publicly releasable project description. Okay, don't need that part. Okay, so this is title, description, a brief description, total estimate population. Okay, so the title is Distant Learning in the Middle Ohio Valley. Description of the proposed hub end user. Our Dow Learning Consortium consists of 2 locations. Okay, a description of the proposed this, a brief description of the project. So up here I think we had the project, but it's not really designed. This is like for an advertisement. They want to brag about it and they want to advertise what we're doing. Can you also make sure, like, your cursor's here right now? Don't follow along with me with your cursor. It's not designed to do that. Anytime you put your cursor where mine is, it locks in the cell and it gives you access to it instead of me. And then it's going to tell us that we have a conflict on our document. Yeah, so this is designed, it's not really designed for us both to be working on the same page. It's designed so that, you know, you don't be on page 8, I'm on page 15, that kind of deal. So if you can move that cursor just really far away, that would help. Okay, so a brief description of project. Our distant learning in the Mid-Ohio Valley gives students in the surrounding rural area access to exciting STEM literacy programs available at our sites and also in their own homes. This program upskills workers Okay, I'm fine with that. Total estimated project. I have all these others underlined, so I'm going to underline all these topics. Then we'll underline this one. Say it again. Okay, so is that better? Total estimated population affected by the proposed. Okay, so there's online, if we look at how these other guys said it, I'm going to maximize this and go look at theirs. Here we go. Yeah, they have an interesting way in how they talk about it. And Yeah, this is how they're going to publish it. See, it says like the project will serve 850 students. I don't want to talk about how many students it's going to serve because we're not in like a... Like this one says the system will serve 41,000 residents. 1,000. There was a way that it says... Yeah, here we go. Available to a rural population of this. So I think I want to say something like that. No, I'm going to delete out that part. So I paste this in, change it over to my font style. The project will be available to a rural population of in the mid-Ohio Valley. Okay, so we just add these numbers up. So it's 14, 4, and 4. So 14 plus 8, what was that, 22? We should have about 22,000, but I need to get the exact number. So let's go back to our browser. And what do we have? 14,085 plus 3,898 plus 3,876. Yeah, almost 22. So 2,1,859. And that's what I got. 859, okay. We'll be able to a rural population of 21,000 in the Mojave Valley. Okay, so I feel good with that. Let's go back. You see anything you want to comment on? C. Where is C? Well, we're not even there yet. How about what we already did? The brief description? What about it? Well, I still haven't done number 7 up here at all. Number 7 is going to be huge. I'll probably have a whole page just for this. So I don't want to worry about that for now. Alright, so let's move on, yeah? I don't know if that's accurate actually, because I'm zoomed in at 130. If I zoom out to 100, they're perfect at 100. When you have the wrong kind of zooms, it does that. It'll like bold some on your table and some not. Like look, this time it looks even different now. That's just because we're zoomed. But I will take it and center the whole table. Still isn't really centered, but whatever. Okay, so let's read up on this. Well, let's read this next section here. We're still on the last one. Any information included in this may be released. Okay, please clearly denote this section, which is publicly releasable, included where the release description begins and ends. So I think you're supposed to put 3 of these guys. No, I don't want that. Okay. I think that's very clear, don't you? Yeah. Okay, so moving on. Scoring criteria documentation. So I think it's clear now that we've done this for a few days, how my brain works on this. I'll make a narrative, then I'll go through and match my narrative up to this document, which we did yesterday. But then I'll even go through again a third time and match my document up even a third time to it. Because it's like our brains are very stubborn. Our brains want to do our own thing, and listening is very hard for anybody. So you want to go over it a few times and kind of audit yourself as you do it. Okay, so number 3, scoring criteria. It's a competitive program. So what I'm doing, I already have this in here. This already looks good, but I don't know if I missed anything. So I'm going to just read this very slowly as I go through. Okay, it's a competitive program. We are scored in objective and subjective categories. The table below lists each DLT category and the maximum points available. Rurality. This category is based on this. Okay, so all of that. Up to 40 points. Score is based on the population size. For non-fixed sites and projects which contain non-fixed components, it will be based on the population of the hub site. Applicants can use census population. Okay, population figures used in the 2020 DLT competition will have to use the 2010 census, whether it's from Atlas or from the census website. Please use this worksheet to calculate, which we did, and then include the population statistics for all sites, including those designated as pure hubs. Use the following, which I feel good that we did that. The following classifications define, 40, 30, 20, 0. Use the worksheet to enter the name given, the town, census, All the pure hub sites are not included in this, except, so we don't have a pure hub site. This is a hub and an end user site, so we don't even have a pure hub site. Place the sites in the same order and use the same numbering as on the site worksheet, which will be used on the SAIPE. So it just wants to make sure we have the exact same order. Which I think we're good on that so far. I do think I might be able to make this a little bit site number. Just trying to get this on one line here. I don't need this to be that big. I don't need this to be that big. I guess I gotta drag it from this direction. I don't think I'm gonna have enough room to do what I want to do though. I need to make it this far over. Yeah, I was thinking of that too. Well, I just made the table a little bit bigger. It's not going over the edge of my margins. Beautiful. Looks good, huh? Okay, that wasn't really needed, but I did it anyway. So let's look at what else. If any end user site are not within the boundaries and can be identified by this, there's a possibility that community is so rural that it's not even associated, which is kind of true for Murraysville. It's not in any place. So I'm just using the closest one, which is Ravenswood. And I don't know what they said. And be reported as exceptionally rural area. If this is the case, I think it's good enough to call it Ravenswood. It's not going to increase our score anyway. It's still going to stay at 40. Okay, adding up individual scores for an overall rural scurrility. We did that. 40, 40, 40, 20, 20. So that's 4, 4, 4. What is that? 120, 140, 160. 160 divided by 5. Is that right? 160, 5 goes into 16 3 times. You carry over 10. 5 goes into 10 2 times. Yep, 32. So that's good. Okay, minimum. So we need to have a minimum of 20, which we have. Rounding, we don't need a round. All right, so we're good on that. Wondering if I'm going to use this. I think I'm fine with how it is. But what do they call that? I don't call it a worksheet. They just call it rurality. Then the next one, they don't call it worksheet. They just call it economic need. For number 2, economic need. All right, so now we're done on economic need. It's measured by this. Please use this worksheet. It's based on data for the county. They put it in all caps. Like, you guys better use county. So again, the spacing's a little bit messed up here, and county is using up too much room. So let's see if we can change that. Take county all the way down. Take this guy all the way down, and boom. Now it has a lot better. And we can center those guys. Center these guys. Center these guys. Okay, so overall we get a score of 10. That's a horrible score here. Oh well. Oh well, it is what it is. Non-fixed end-user applications, only use this. Determining, I feel good on our determination. How is it scored? Okay, special consideration. All right, so we're doing C3. Are you good with this one? You see any problems? Oh. I think it's fine. They can see it. I will center it. Okay, so yeah, I feel good there. Let's move on to this next one. So then we have this table. Our project's primary purpose, we put 2 checks, even though they only want 1. I'm putting 2 anyway, though. And I need to sign this, which we will do once we're done with the whole document. And we'll add our date then. Okay, special consideration. I think we're good on all of this. C4, need for service and benefits. Need for services and project benefits. Okay, the rural workforce, creating more STEM. I feel good on this, on why this is needed. I think it's very common. We don't really need to explain why they need STEM. If they don't know why they need STEM, I think that need for service is, like, say we don't use STEM, say we use something else. We have to really build an argument. Well, why are you not doing that? So this is good. So moving on, matching requirements. Benefits derived from services. Well, let's slow down. Let's come back up here. Create more of this. I guess we could read this a little bit more. Okay, some examples of benefits. Improve education opportunities. Other matters that will be considered. Okay, need for services. Clearly state the economic, geographical, educational, and healthcare challenges facing the communities and provide any documentation that demonstrates those challenges. Use verifiable data and statistics to substantiate and quantify these. And why the applicant cannot afford the project without a grant. Okay, the rural workforce. Create more. I just think we need to add a little bit more in here. Need for services. Yeah, so after this guy, let's add a line. Let's actually copy. Oh, I don't want that. Maybe we can copy. Nope, don't want that either. Maybe we can try this. Need for service. And where was that? So I'm gonna write some information that kind of goes along with what's being said over here. Well, we already have enough documentation with our charts, and it's saying data's gathered from here. This is also a chart put out by the USDA or somebody. Yeah, that's official documentation. So I think I'm gonna get some statistics from. Remember we found ARC, the Appalachian ARC, and it showed that Meigs County and Jackson County were the most distressed. So maybe it's an ARC map. ARC.gov, and let's look at their map. I think that also builds a very strong argument for this. Counties in Appalachia. Map of them. That's crazy how far it goes over into Ohio. It's pretty far. I don't know it went all the way down to Mississippi. That's considered Appalachia. I always thought Appalachia like in the middle of West Virginia, not really on the edge of it. Okay, so research maps and data. I think we should add this map even in here. Yeah, I want to add this map in. Okay, so can we zoom in on this at all? We can't, can we? Maybe data reports. Okay, West Virginia, Jackson. I don't mind spending a little bit more extra time on this anyway, because we can send this off to them. So Jackson County, income per capita, poverty rate. Okay, so this says it's transitional. So this one is not at risk, it's transitional. And it was distressed, transitional, at risk. Yeah. Alright, well, let's go back and look at Meigs County and Washington County. So we'll go to Ohio, and let's look at Meigs. So this is data science, by the way. Did you know that? Okay, so Meigs is definitely distressed all the way through. Okay, well, let's go back and look at Washington County. Transitional. So those are still 3 areas that need help, for sure. That's in Jackson County. Okay, so it's interesting that in the whole map, like all the distressed ones are in the same clump. Maybe they're approaching it and like providing money from the outside, slowly going in. That might make sense. I don't really know. I know the mountain range is right where my cursor is. It's not really this far over. This starts getting pretty flat. But it might curve over to the left like that a little bit. It is definitely hard to hit industry in that mountain area. They used to have coal mines there. When they closed the coal mines down, a lot of the money left. Okay, so I feel like I need to have this down lower. With multiple end-user sites located in even more rural areas, we'll be able to provide access to our STEM literacy tools and training to then help these participants gain much-needed employment. The counties we are serving are either distressed, at risk, or transitional, according to the Appalachian Regional Commission. Have been distressed for the past 20 years. Our goal is to help these communities find new avenues of employment by tapping into technology sectors that do not limit employees or entrepreneurs from geographical barriers. Our digital training connects these participants with a global network of resources and customers to inspire their ideas and help grow. Micro businesses. Another goal, well, let's look back on the document they were wanting us to read. What else did they want us to talk about? Okay. Yeah, ancillary benefits and multiple uses that would create value in the rural communities. Yeah, so our main benefit is to help them get jobs in. Our main goal is to help teach the skilled technical workforce needed for manufacturing and enterprise industries found in this region. Another goal is to help find new avenues of employment by tapping into technology sectors that do not limit employees or entrepreneurs from geographical barriers. Our digital training connects, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that looks good. Let's see what else here. Life saved. Okay, local community involvement in planning, implementing, and finance. Address the participation by local residents and organizations in planning and developing the project. Include evidence of this participation in the application. Examples of evidence include community meetings, public forums, willingness. We have worked with the local community in this region for over 20 years by hosting workshops, trainings, and events to increase STEM literacy. So, willingness of end users to contribute to the costs of completing operating. Documentation of support includes letters of financial and non-financial commitment from local organizations. We have worked with the local community in this region for over 20 years by hosting workshops, trainings, and events to increase STEM literacy. By obtaining this grant, assisting community partners Okay, I don't feel the need to add commitment letters or anything else. We're fine with that. One of the reasons we don't need that, all of these organizations on our insights, they're not even our own sites anyway. Those kind of are our partners. I might touch on that benefits derived. We've worked with the local community. Okay. Our events over the last decade have had local participation by over 3,000 community members. In a community this rural, those numbers show how excited and involved this community is on our previous engagements. Yeah, I was thinking about that. Statistics of this can be seen by our health literacy program developed for mothers with our Mother's Day 5K run, which we've hosted for 10 years in Washington County, Ohio. Statistics are cited with the River City Runners Club, an affiliated 501c3 nonprofit. So they can check with that organization. What do you think? No, this is in the middle of nowhere. I mean, come on. These people probably don't have a website. Their website, I mean, my mom was the one that hosted this website. They probably haven't touched it. They probably haven't touched it since she stopped working on it. Like 5 years ago. 10 years ago. Look how horrible it is. To expect them to have graphs? No way. I mean, this is all about it. Okay, we have worked with the local community in this region for over 20 years by hosting workshops, this and that. I'd say it's more than 3,000. Okay, if I'm including those, my numbers are going to go up. Yes, it is. A thesis is retarded. You students spend like 6 months. You say, oh my gosh, my life's so tough. I had to write my thesis. I'm like, well, I did one last week. I did one the week before. The week before that. It's like, get over it. Why do you think we have people write theses? It's because when you get in the real world, voila, here it is. Yeah, this is more applicable. Just, it's, you're trying to see impact. You're trying to see actual tangible impact on a lot. It depends on what I'm writing this for. If this is for the National Science Foundation on BioLife stuff, we might only be using statistics coming out of labs. But this is a very hands-on project. Okay, matching requirements. So I added a whole page on here, but I do feel that rounds out that program quite well. If I can spell the word commission right. Okay, so that was part C, and let's move on. Put that back over on the right side. DLT, need for services. Okay, I have that good enough. Now, if these people really get excited for what we're doing, then like the ARC people, they'll email us back and tell us like, hey, like, how are you going to document that? Or how's this going to happen? And their questions turn into answers that we put back into the paper. Instead of just emailing them the answer, we update it in the paper and then we send the paper again to them. So this is like a contract that we're making, and we keep, you want to see these as like negotiating a contract. You put stuff in it, and then they get back, they're like, we like it, but we don't like this part. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll take out that donation and I'll put this in. And then I send it back. They're like, all right, now we like it. Let's go ahead and do that one. So with any relationship, it's a back and forth to where both parties are happy before you get started. Okay. All right, so part D. Let's see. Discuss other projects involving this. Cannot be awarded to projects that duplicate facilities. Existing awardees can submit applications for new projects. Okay. If any of the sites or service territory in the project as described are part of another grant or part of a project funded through this program in the past, explain any relationship between or among these projects and discuss the specific need and benefit. So I think the hospital here might have been involved in one of those grants. So let's go look. If we look over here and we type in what would we be looking for? like, okay, Bill Johnson, see this? This is our person in Ohio. So we need to see anything that Bill Johnson's in charge of. See, that's Ohio, Ohio. Say it again? Yeah. Yeah, his office is just right by that Mexican restaurant we ate at. This rural development investment will allow Edison local school district. So that's Edison. We're not covering that at all. We're not covering Jefferson County or Belmont. And then Lisbon Exempted Village School. We're not covering that either. And yeah, I mean, they got $300,000 and it only covers that many students. And they're already getting tax money. It just doesn't make sense why we're giving these schools new money when they already get so much tax money. So he covered those two. Here's another Bill Johnson one. Jefferson County again. We're not covering that area. So they're just wanting us to check in here. Here's some more Ohio stuff. The last one. Western Reserve. Okay, so nothing with that. Now let's scroll down to the West Virginia section. I'm pretty sure they're all in alphabetical order. Here's West Virginia. Okay, Cabell, Huntington. We're not covering anything in Huntington. It's a hospital anyway. And Salem University is West Virginia. We're not covering anything there either. So, and see how they worked with Bill Johnson? That makes me feel good that they did a combination of West Virginia and Ohio. So that makes me feel like they're not going to freak out that I'm trying to combine the Mid-Ohio Valley. Because, yeah, a lot of them that I saw on here were only for one place, not for multiple states combined. Okay, so we did that already. So we looked over to see if there's other programs involved. And, you know, that only took me 3 minutes to do just now, but that's a big deal. I mean, if we skip that over and they'd already funded this stuff, that, I mean, we just wouldn't get funded. It would completely undermine our entire work. Okay, so moving on, we now have matching requirements. We have a minimum matching of this, however, in kind. Funding commitment from other sources. Let me push this back over on the right side. We have ours on the left. Okay. Funding commitments. Microsoft will be providing this for 91, Azure this and that. Then we break down how all of them work. It doesn't like me capitalizing that letter P, so I'm going to make that lowercase. Again, make it lowercase. Okay. Please use the matching worksheet to calculate the match percentage. This worksheet is available here. Additionally, document this. Special matching provision. Okay. Eligible purposes for the in-kind. That none. For a line item identified as in-kind to be eligible, the application must demonstrate the match is used for eligible purposes. So I'm going to write in here, all line items will be used exclusively for eligible purposes. None of the use is to benefit sites not shown in the scoring. The predominant purpose, do you see why I'm writing this? And do you see where I'm getting it from? I guess I could copy that. The predominant purpose, over 50% of every line item, is for the purposes which meet of distant learning. None. What? That none of the use is to benefit. None is to benefit sites not shown. Okay, I feel good with that. If any part is for ineligible, it can't be budgeted for. To be eligible, it must be an integral part of the project in exactly the same way as items the applicant proposes to obtain. The technology purchased, grant monies, or credited as in kind are intended to build distant learning or telemedicine that would not otherwise be financially possible. Okay, so I think we missed a section up here actually. Let's scroll back up. Need for services. Did we talk about why we need this money? Somewhere they said we need to show why we need funding. Demonstrate demand. Local community involvement. Maybe it was even higher. Wait, what was that? Maybe it was on part. I just read it here though somewhere. My brain like skipped over it because I got it all caught up with making this chart on here. Clearly state, demonstrate how the proposed will resolve. Okay, and why the applicant cannot afford the project without a grant. Yeah, demonstrate how the proposed project will help resolve these challenges. So let's read through this to see if I do mention that. Many families, they're quite resilient. This means they enter and get a first-hand look at digital spaces. As seen in the chart, agriculture is the lowest GDP, so we need to help career seekers in rural areas learn new skills to gain employment in the workforce. Okay. As noted, thus we have a strong need to set a new push for STEM curriculum, especially in rural environments. Our approach will reflect the trend. Students will not be limited this and that. Need. While our hub site has been able to do this, the lack of on-site equipment prevents students who do not need. This program will provide. The lack of on-site equipment prevents students who do not have their own equipment. Funding is needed so we can provide appropriate equipment and also to acquire capital assets in coursework and curriculums. That feels better. So what did it say that? And why the applicant cannot afford funding from this grant is needed at hub and end user sites. Funding is also needed to acquire capital assets in coursework and curriculums for these sites. That sounds like a better argument. Okay, so Going right back down to where we were. Okay, matching requirements. We added that stuff in. Matching requirements, funding commitment from other sources. Please use this. Okay. Eligible purposes. The match is used for this. It's none of that. If any part is ineligible, it can't be budgeted. Federal funds are not eligible as matching. Okay, so matching requirements. So this needs to go over a 3-year period. The licensing above is priced at current rates, current monthly rates, and calculated over a 3-year timeline. Our attached documentation shows Microsoft's commitment to providing this in-kind donation to our organization over the lifetime of this grant. I think that breaks down a little bit better why it's like that. Yeah, which we haven't attached yet. Yeah, I don't know if they want us to add it right here. Let's see, in-kind, funding commitments. We must provide in the form of substance satisfactory funding agreements that have been obtained to ensure completion. These agreements, which must be placed in this section, shall be sufficient. Payment of all proposed, all required matching, any additional funding. So yeah, I'll attach it right here. Whoops, closed it. I tried to hit Control E, and the button right beside Control E is Control W, and Control W does a close. So that's called Executive Summary. Suzanne is editing this. Not according to my computer. Whoops, I didn't want that one over there. So I think we can close that one out for now. We haven't been using that other document. What's going on with this? Oh, it's just my computer. Okay, special consideration, down to here, down to there. So we're essentially on page 11. So I was trying to hit center button. I don't like those highlights, but I'll do something with them. Yeah, there we go. That's not too much in your face. Okay, funding commitments, MAC documentation specifics, discounts and donations. So I think we're kind of done on that whole section. Scope of work. Provide a narrative with charts if needed explaining the scope of work. Make a clear and convincing presentation of how the goals of the project will be achieved. The scope of work completes the picture for the reviewer, discusses how the organization An application that does not include one cannot be evaluated. The scope of work must include at minimum the following: the activities, who's going to carry them out, the time frames, and the budget for all capital expenditures. So this is going to be pretty big. So I know I just closed that document out, but I probably should open it back up and we start moving stuff over here. But how about we just zoom out on this document and let's focus on this area for a little bit. And let's go to our view. Let's choose multiple pages. Zoom out a little bit more. Okay, so scope of work. The reason I'm zooming out, I'm even going to zoom out further. I want to bring up 8 pages at a time, and I just want to start thinking about our overall vision of what this looks like. As many as we want. Okay, so we're going to delete out this whole section here because we don't need it anymore, right? So it's just gone. We delete that. And that's why I'm zooming out so much. Okay, so now I do believe we're going to move all of these pages up to that area, right? So we're going to take it artificial intelligence all the way from here. So let's just scroll up and read all the way to... Did we delete our photo here? That used to have a photo of a smile space. Did we move it? Did we delete it? Let me zoom in over there. Where'd he go? Okay, well, I'm going to go... Yep, I'll open the other document up. File, open, technical proposal. Here we go. I would rather be too verbose than not enough. And I'd rather give them 5 extra pages. It's like, dude, you guys asked for so much. So if you're going to read 40 pages, that's your fault. That's not my fault. Okay, so this is... I'm trying to get my bearings as to where we are. Oh, so this is after the whole document ends down to M, and then we start into pretty much our scope of work. So I'm going to start from right here, go down, keep on going, all the way down to artificial intelligence and cut all of that out. And then go back up to scope of work. Here we go, scope of work. Enter, scope of work. Paste all of that in. Man, it's too much scrolling. Okay, scope of work. And I'm going to press Control Enter. When you press Control Enter, it forces you to get a new page. So I forced it to put this on a new page. So we're actually going to have this one be an attachment, which is going to be on the next page. So let's actually do a Control Enter on that guy as well, because this is going to be a whole page just for Microsoft. Okay, then we have scope of work. Well, let's go look. This is where they get pretty creative. So if we read this over here, it just says provide a narrative. They say specific activities. So yeah, we do have our activities in here. But one thing I will do is, we did have it set up like this before. So smile space, focus pass, and innovation. I want to cut all of that out. And I'm going to put that at the beginning. And I'm also going to maybe we'll keep it like this. They don't like you to do that. They want everything at 12. I wonder why it doesn't fit anymore, because I have that heading there. Well, I think I am okay with having a summary up here. Something like this. And then for this section, this is all talking about focus pass. That's all talking about the smile space. Am I right on that? I guess it's smile spaces in the Mid-Ohio Valley. I was thinking about that. I don't think so. I think I'm going to keep it just how it is. What is going on? Okay, I'll make the map smaller. What do you think? Yeah, it's not amazing, but it's okay. What do you think of that? We'll worry about it later. I have it all backed up anyway, so no big deal. Okay, so very quickly we went from 11 pages done to, and that's why we wrote that narrative before. It's not that we don't use that, it just has a certain space it belongs in this whole thing. Okay, so now we have, I need to write this overview. So that's not ready. Let's just go ahead and write him. Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, for the overview, scope of work. They call them delivery frameworks. Just in our company, we call them transports. Okay, that's a good enough overview. I need to hear you say that louder. Say it with oomph. I did. I just didn't use the word instar. We have three distinct. We blend R&D from our. Okay, we'll just call it instar lab into our. We blend R&D. Then we give students and members access to a focus pass, which they can use at our end user sites or from their own devices to access digital learning from any location. Does that make more sense? Okay, so let's zoom out again and see this at a bird's eye view. Okay, so we have an overview, boom, boom, boom. We have the smile space, we have hub sites, connected, peaceful forest settings, this. We show that, then we show everything in here, everything in here. Okay, finding passion for learning. Then we talk about instar, quantum literacy, interstellar research, mixed reality. That's all good. Moving along. What's after that? I'm trying to see what this section is. Is this section even made yet? And why is that all? Surprised you can read that over there. I mean, it's small for me too. Okay, we have developed swarm intelligence that teaches this. In this department, we exposed all of that. That all looks good. I think that's relevant for the instar area. artificial intelligence, mini rural, we use project. Okay, so this part we already wrote somewhere else, but I think the reason we put it here, let's go back. Okay, so let's move this now back to the left, and let's look at our scope of work. So they do say what we need to put in here. The time frames, did we already put this, did we put this timeline, this guy somewhere else? Let's look. Okay, nothing. And yeah, they say that's where the timeline should go. So I think now you can see more clearly why I wrote my narrative how I did, because I wrote it exactly like they're wanting it. And it transitions into the timeline exactly like what we did it before we even read their documentation. Okay, I'm also wondering, should we move the 5 C's to the beginning of the article instead of the end, and it should be close to the overview? Yeah, well, if we say on the overview, we cover the 5 C's of education through R&D with the Interstellar Lab, and we use smile spaces and focus passes. And before the smile space, like I would have it like this, and then I would move this whole 5 C's thing up to here. You think we should do that? Oh my, we could try. Well, for some reason going up gets it. Kind of works. No, totally messing it up. No, I never dragged this one before. I took it off of a PowerPoint slide, and I brought the PowerPoint slide over. Now, it was actually a lot of work to fix it up once we brought it over. Well, ooh, that might have gotten it. Copy all of that. I went on the edge and I got the cursor instead of the insert key, which I do that a lot for tables. So it did get all of it. We can make this title way smaller, and that would bring that paragraph back maybe. I'll play around with it for a minute, see if it'll fix it up. Let's actually just delete this out. I can always add it in later. There we go. So stupid. I don't want to drag each one up individually. Well, I could start over again. Fun stuff, huh? Putting in its own document. Whoops. Still messed up a little bit. Still have to move it around once I get it over there. Okay, that kind of gets it, but I don't want that piece up there. Right. Maybe there's a hidden box in here I don't see. Nothing. Well, it pushes everything up. But just one line. It won't do it for more than one line. Taking forever. I guess I could just take each element one by one. well as I can get the ones that are hidden down here. I actually have more room now underneath the page, so I could put my title back in. So I like that 5 C's of education. Maybe I have 2 lines here. I have to zoom in on one page only to see the stuff that's gone and change my view to one page. Change my view to like draft mode. Nope, outline mode. Well, those pieces are somewhere hidden in here. Yeah, I could. Might push it onto the next page. Nope, it just disappears. Oh, wait, there it is. But no, they're gone. No big deal. I could pull them from the other page. So we already said this above. We don't need to repeat ourselves. Okay, that looks good. Can you read this at all? It's too small for you. Can you see the alignment buttons it's giving me? A little green line showing me where we're aligned to. Well, yeah, this has a lot more to do than just this one little transport, because I'll be excited to hand this out to a lot of people now. Because, yeah, I've been telling people, well, like even think when we met you, I was trying to tell you what my program is, and it takes a long time to learn it, to just comprehend why we're doing this and how it's so much different. Now I can just, give people this document. We can take out elements of this document and pop it up on our website. And we can gain better partners this way that desire this approach to education. And we could just see, do they align with these 5 C's or not? And do they like the idea of promoting self-learning and distant learning? A lot of people? Right. Yeah, it really opens us up to a lot of new stuff. And if we did make this international, we would talk about the SDGs more in here. So we probably will take this and put it into another grant for other countries. And in those, we'll definitely talk more on that SDG concept. Because this is also the problem in other countries. They don't have access to nice digital learning, and they're stuck with a lot of misinformation or really outdated books. Okay, so now I'm going to right align this guy, left align this guy, and I'll just start looking at my alignments. I guess this isn't the one I want. Let's close that. We're not going to save it. So let's open this one up because he has nice alignment. Do you hear my birds? Do you have your windows open? It's nice out. Okay, I think I'm happy with this. Overview, 5 C's of education. Then it moves on and boom, right goes into those guys. Now we found them. Oh my gosh. Silly computer. Okay, so we're done with this document for now. I'm going to minimize him. We'll move this back over to the left. Okay, provide a narrative with charts, the specific activities to be performed under the project. Who will carry out the activities? So we didn't talk about who's going to carry them out, but I don't know if we need that section. I'll read through it as if I'm an auditor to see if it's going to make sense. So the specific activities. Our pedagogical approach will focus on the 5 C's of education, the pillars of learning, innovative areas important for future generations joining the workforce. This approach shifts focus away from traditional education and into areas with self-promoted learning, social interaction, and intellectual abilities and technical abilities using business intelligence needed in an ever-changing society. Okay, I think it sounds good. Moving on, we have the smile spaces. We promote self-distant. Okay. Okay, smile spaces. We encourage learning from preschool all the way to career growth with a smile. They go through a 5-step process to encourage themselves. Okay. Connected. We will create new curriculum, scope of work. Existing classrooms will be upgraded with new equipment. I talk about super librarians somewhere, so let's wait until I find that. Will be upgraded so they can continue into the field of STEAM. Our curated approach will put front and center to each student access to material to next generation software for their independent exploration. Students will be of all ages and backgrounds, as our smile spaces have an agnostic approach to observing who is a student. This will allow many in rural settings who may have never had a chance to use technology to adopt new skills. As we are connected with national, it doesn't like that. As we relate to national industry, no. With our connection to industrial partners, gain internships and employment directly from our partners, either during or after their time. Our staff provide the space and atmosphere needed to develop remote working skills and the encouragement to step into this new field of work. Each smile space is carefully selected to embrace its surroundings. As many of our centers are in rural areas, we create multi-purpose rooms so they can do this. This encourages our participants to approach blah blah blah. Working remotely and studying remotely comes with many challenges. Our smile spaces are carefully designed with noise-canceling audio. Okay, the high-tech equipment we install is so well connected to our city partners, they immerse in all of that. Moving on, Focus Pass. Students sign up with a Focus Pass. Instead of... I don't like using the word focus so much. Instead of our budgets going to curriculum creation, we primarily curate existing curriculum designed by our enterprise partners. And then our super librarians assist students to onboard into these digital environments. In this way, we can quickly add new curriculum as the industry makes it available to the nonprofit or profit sectors. The super librarians only need training in how to access the material and how to ignite curiosity into students. They do not need specialized skills in each new area we adopt. We have a curated list of programs and tools. We also have created the curiosity score as shown in the figure to the left. Okay, our super librarians found in each smile space are not teachers, but are masters of research and of helping students become independent learners. But are masters of research and masters of curiosity. They are tasked with helping students become independent learners. How about that? They are masters of research and masters of curiosity. They are tasked with helping students become independent learners. There we go. They use the curiosity score to check just how curious students are in our quest to create digital experts out of the next generation. Of skilled workers. The focus pass is split into two sections depending on a student interest. So I think that very well covers who's going to carry it out, right? The time frames for accomplishing the project objectives and activities. So we cover this guy, we cover that guy, finding passion, the basic concept. They are joined online by students worldwide. Then we have Instar. And utilizes both Microsoft research materials as well as let's go see what this Qiskit is. The scientists involved are working on machine learning algorithms to better map our stars and providing compelling data back to the science community. Students get access during their work. I've already read all that. Quantum literacy. It's no longer needed for this. Artificial intelligence. You were asking before, how far along am I on this? And I said, I don't think very far. I think it makes sense now. There was a lot of little tiny stuff to clean up on this. Okay, business automation, artificial intelligence, many rural workers. Okay, so next we have the time frames for accomplishing this, and then the budget. So before this budget, we're going to put the time frame. So we're going to move this below this. Okay, so we zoom out a little bit. Let's actually maximize this. Get rid of that, because I know what I need to do. I just need underneath this to have that timeline. Alright, so we don't need this page at all anymore. So he's going to get deleted. That thing's annoying, huh? They don't like being deleted, don't like being copied. Okay, so I have... Well, I actually could just delete this out. Yeah. Delete it out. There we go. And then it says a budget. Say it again? Yes. Alright, let's go back and we'll zoom back in on this guy. Ooh, not that far though. Here we go. Alright, let's assume that we're done with the scope of work. After we get done with that, so specific activities we covered, who's going to carry them out we covered. Timeline, it needs work done on it. It's all just fake text in here, but it at least is there. And then a budget for all capital expenditures. Separately, the budget must specify any line item costs that are non-approved purposes for grants, which we're not going to have any of those. Why would you put stuff in that's not approved? Doesn't make sense. Additional guidance on the budget. The budget is a required document to evaluate an application. It's available here. An Excel spreadsheet for completing the budget is available. The budget should show each item as a line item. So let's go check that budget out. You were worried, huh? Well, I mean, it is too wide. This is not going to be our end result. I'm going to completely delete it, and I'm going to completely load it back in. It's just a placeholder for now, because I'm going to go over to that actual Excel sheet over here, and we're going to, they said they didn't want the installation just like that. They want it very itemized on what that consists of. And then these numbers too, well, what does this consist of? They want us to break that down. So we'll do that another time, but for now we're just getting the layout of this whole project done. They said do not combine items into lump sums that cannot be evaluated individually by the agency. The individual parts have to be evaluated for cost comparison and program eligibility. Provide details such as the brand and model number. So we do need to provide the brand and model number of every single thing that we're purchasing. If in the project a user fee or license fee is required to use grant or match purpose, it must be presented as such in the application. Final budget total should be rounded to the nearest whole dollar amount, so it doesn't want any pennies in it. Okay, so I feel good on that. What we do need to change here is, let's go back up on scope of work, the time frames, and then the budget. So the time frame is not good. We need to change that one. And then the budget's not good. We need to change it. But both of them are 50% there. That's not going to take me that long to fix. But I'm not in the mood to do it right now. It's hitting my page number here. Got to move him up just a hair. There we go. Now it looks good. Okay, so we'll fix this a later date. We'll fix the budget a later date. Let's just move on to the next section. Okay, so now we are down to F. The applicant must provide a narrative description demonstrating the feasibility of the project, including having sufficient resources and expertise necessary to undertake and complete the project, and how the project will be sustained following completion of the project. We need to show that funding is available for the 3-year period, and that it takes to put together the project required for eligibility, and to ensure the project's continuance. So provide a narrative description that addresses the project's feasibility. The narrative should include a description of the project's leadership and how the leadership and technical expertise is distributed throughout all of the sites. Describe the flow of funds. Okay. So that sounds like an hour project in its own. I will come back to that. So next time. G, statement of experience. Provide a written narrative or capability and experience in operating an educational endeavor. So we're going to talk about our PDA program, and we've been in the edutech business for a very long time. If we don't have any experience, we should explain how the lack of experience will be overcome. So we'll put all of our previous experience in right there, and then we'll also develop this TSP. Okay, let's move on to the next section. I. Compliance with other federal statutes. Okay, so appendix contains certification forms. So let's go check out Appendix A. Let's just type in Appendix A. Here we go, Appendix A. Appendix A forms. Don't understand where it is, probably at the very bottom. Appendix B, section I5, I4, I3. Come on, Appendix A. Interesting. Not seeing it yet. So we were on question I. It contains certification forms. Okay, I did see a lot of I stuff down there. Okay, so it wants us to do I1 and all that. So let's look for I1. Attachment I1 is this. Say it again. It's not so much that we need to get certification, we just need to sign off on these papers. So I'm going to save this into our area. So we just got this file. It needs Adobe Acrobat to open it, so we have to open it in our official. Yeah, we just put our title of our thing in, put that in, probably sign at the bottom. And then sign it down here. Yeah, so they're going to get back like a 90-page document from us. So we have to sign this, then attach it. And it probably wants it right in order. So in here, and I will attach it right here. Okay, so I have that downloaded now. Let's look what else they're asking for. Regarding flood hazard precautions, language is included on the following page. So the following page, certificate regarding flood. Is it located in a subject to flooding? Flooding insurance must be provided to the extent available and required under the National Flood Insurance Act, as amended by this. If applicable, the insurance must cover, in addition to the buildings, any machinery, equipment, fixtures, and furnishings. Please provide an explanation below to the following questions. Okay. So the only one I can think of that's in a flood zone is the BB2C Center. But now that we're almost done with this, I can give this whole document to her. And we could even go over there today. You want to do that? You said yes? Okay, then we have another one. Are we delinquent on federal debt? Another one on this. I wish there were just pages with a signature on it. So we have to fill all of these pages out. So, non-duplication of services. Okay, so I'm going to copy this actually. So there was a non-duplication of services area that we already wrote. Well, I'll just type in duplicate. Non-duplicate. So right here, I'm going to paste in what they said. Can't imagine how much more work they would get done if they just provided people an entire template like this. And this template is 50 hours of work. And not by some low-end employee either. You're going to have somebody smart doing it. I don't know. I mean, I just used 6 right there. Let's go back up and read it. Okay, compliance forms. Non-duplication. So non-duplication This is facility. That no facilities. Yeah, it says facility. It's fine, because that's what they called it up higher. Okay, so let's go back up here and let's update our table of contents. We still have all this stuff in the wrong areas, and we're probably not going to use a lot of that stuff. I'm surprised they're actually not asking for monitoring and valuation. Like, we're pretty much done with this whole document, right? We got down to I, and what's on J? I mean, it makes sense. They don't want you to have stuff in a flood area that, you know, your equipment's going to get ruined. Okay, so I is all those forms. We'll do that later. And yes, and I6 is within the application. They must include all of these within the application. We attested these certifications by executing and including the checklist under this section. So we also have to add this checklist in underneath section I. Just saying that we did all of that. I was going to update my table of contents, but that's alright, I'll go back. Okay, so we're down here, we have our timeline, we have our budget, we have F, G, H, I. Okay, so in section I, they want us to add the checklist. I already have the checklist somewhere else. So anything that we actually need, like I said before, we have two different areas of how I work. We have the request area, but then we also have the our actual docket. So that checklist that's right here, it sounds like we actually need this. So I'm going to open it up, and we actually need to attach this. Yes. I'm going to copy it, and we can fill it out as we go. And then compliance here. So it's going to be at the very bottom of this section. That looks good. Gonna click it and center it. I don't know what schedule means compared to complete. Like when we're ready to start that, I have no idea. But now we have it in the right place, and maybe those are the schedules, and we come over here and we can put an X in when we're done. Okay, so it has this. Let's see what else we need to put in there. Like this form. I'm trying to think of how I want to put this form in the other form. Like how I want to put it over here. Well, let's go back to our DLT document. Okay, I1, I2, I3. Compliance with federal statutes. So that non-duplicate, I think I have to do that twice. Duplicate. See, this is our executive summary up at the top. And anything in our executive summary, we're probably going to have to duplicate. So they want that form again. They want that certificate again put down at the bottom. Does that make sense? Yeah. A number of certifications which used to be required are now addressed by the financial assistance certification and representations in SAM. We're now required to have made these as part of the SAM registration. See page 8 for more details. Let's go up to page 8. Page 8. Applicant eligibility. To be eligible, we need be legally organized as an incorporation or this or that. We must provide evidence that's a legally capacity of its legal capacity to do this, which we can do. Consortium. Either operate a rural community facility or deliver distance learning or telemedicine to entities that operate a rural community. Okay, equipment vendors, manufacturers. So we're fine with all of that. Back down to page 33. 33. Okay, so we'll come back to these and I'll fill those out later. Let's move on to J. So let's take this page down to section J. Yeah, the ability to get grant money is your patience on a document this long. If you can constantly write theses, then you can bring in millions of dollars on grants. It's really that simple. I don't think that's that hard. It just takes a habit, a lifestyle. So, evidence of legal existence. We must provide evidence and legal authority to contract with the U.S. government. What'd you say? I didn't hear you. We must be legally organized as an incorporation, but how do we prove that? If we lack the legal capacity, each individual must contract with us. We must provide acceptable evidence of legal existence. We must provide evidence of good standing in accordance with the laws for any that exist under law, rather than through incorporation, a copy of a state statute, regulation, or other appropriate documentation. Evidence of tax status from the IRS is not evidence of legal existence. Evidence of tax. We must provide, with respect, legal eligibility. We must be legally organized as an incorporated organization. Okay, so I say we give them our IRS document for this. And then we give them our letter of incorporation for this. And then we provide a printout of our registration. They're so silly. Just go on SAM and look us up. How lazy are they? Why don't you guys go and print it out? Who prints in this day anyway? I mean, we're going to be submitting this through SAM. They should just, we're on SAM. We're obviously allowed because we're on SAM. Okay, the name, the DUNS number, and SAM must be for the applicant. It cannot be for a parent, subsidiary, or other affiliated entity. It is important that the exact name be listed on block 8. Yeah, we already did that. And of that, and eligible to receive this. Okay, additional guidance for consortia, which we do have a consortium, so we need to read this. As defined, consortium means a combination of or group of entities undertaking the purpose to do distance learning. At least one of them must meet their requirements. So yeah, it's ours that's going to meet all of these requirements. If it's inexistent, established with legal to contract with the federal government, which we could do that. If it's an informal, so ours isn't this one. Ours is maybe this one. If the applicant is an informal one, by itself lacks the legal capacity. Yes, so we can't, as a group, we can't do that, but just one of us can, just Dow Learning can. We must have a legal organized fiscal agent, which is part of the consortium. So yes, Dow Learning is the fiscal agent. The agent must submit documentation as listed in section J above, which we're going to do. Under this approach, if it receives an award and does not take steps to establish itself as a legal entity, one of the following approaches. The agent assumes sole responsibility for the grant, is legally responsible. Yeah, so Dow Learning is going to be responsible. That's fine. If it does not assume responsibility, each organization must confirm its legal existence and have legal authority to contract with the government. So we don't have to get legal existence from all of those, I think, since we're just going to show Dow Learning's legal existence. Okay, so that was on J, evidence of legal existence. I'm going to come back to that. I don't want to show those forms on here. Ah, bothering you, huh? Maybe it's authority. Okay, environmental impact. The application must provide details on the environmental and historical preservation. We may use the environmental questionnaire in Appendix A to assist in complying with that. Okay, for projects requesting broadband facilities. So a lot of people are asking to put up cell phone towers. They're asking to, affect the environment that way. We're not doing that. We are installing fiber optic material at properties, but that's about it. Applicants not proposing broadbands, we must at least do the impact survey. Yes. Okay, we can use this section to provide additional information it considers relevant to the project and likely be helpful. I don't think we're going to have anything else. I think we covered stuff pretty well. Okay, M is that. So they are not asking for our MEL, the logistics and operations, activity theory, logic model. They're not, they are not asking at all how to track this stuff. They don't ask for a monitoring plan, performance monitoring, context monitoring. That's mainly what they care about. How are we going to monitor? Monitor. And nowhere in here did they ask for monitoring. That is silly. What a waste of their money. You got to monitor your people. Well, I'm going to move our monitoring stuff into the telecommunication system plan. Because I want to show them we have an amazing monitoring system. I want to brag about it. So I will move it all. So for now, let's move that stuff. Yeah, so I'm going to minimize that main document. I'm going to maximize this guy. And let's change our view to multi-page. And we're just going to start moving stuff around. Okay, so at the end, we have section M, supplemental information. Timeline and strategy, sustainability. Here we go, logistics and operations. Let's move logistics, monitoring plan, evaluation plan, learning plan, data management plan, data collection and storage, all of that data analysis. Let's move all of that stuff, cut it out, and it's going to go into our technical telecommunication strategy. What section was that? Telecommunication system plan. Here we go. Okay, so, well, be careful with your cursor. It'll lock me out. What do you mean by forward to the changes then? Okay, so logistics and this, active theory and logic, monitoring plan. I want to change this so it is not bold. So let's make it that color. And let's have it adapt the same type of font as this guy. There we go. Okay, evaluation plan. You know what? Maybe I will keep that blue, dark blue still. Because I don't mind if it says H, telecommunication, then it has underneath of it monitoring, evaluation, learning, and data. That's actually fine. The bigger grants with USAID and other international organizations, they all ask for these. It's called an MEL plan. So let me just bring up MEL for you. In any document we do, MEL plan USAID. They call it the M&E. We call it an MEL. So it's monitoring, evaluation, and learning. Activity monitoring, evaluation, learning. And when you click on it, you can see some examples that they have. They talk about, how do you monitor your approach? How do you plan for collaborating with any other external partners? So you create an MEL plan, an activity MEL plan, and you always include that in those projects. And I don't want to submit something without an MEL. I feel like it's like walking out naked. So I want to keep it in here. And we have amazing monitoring, so I really want to brag about that. Okay, so we have those. That by no means is complete. We have to actually map out No, I don't want to change it. No, it's all throughout the whole document. It's not worth it. I want to just hurry up and get this rolling. Yeah, I'd rather do big changes instead of little tiny stuff. Like, I have to rewrite all of this. I have to rewrite all of that. Rewrite all of that. Rewrite all of this. That's a lot of writing. So to go through and change some color, no thank you. I feel exhausted just seeing how much we're going to have to write. I'd rather, if you want to learn about how Power BI works and the system servers, to do that, absolutely, that's amazing. And then rewriting this, yeah, awesome. But I feel like that's going to be on my shoulders. Zane knows how to do it, but he says he's not a writer. Well, I'm sorry, there's no grant money for you if you don't think you're a writer. We are all writers here. And then for you, also, you have the opposite problem of what Zane would say. You would say, I don't know how this works. Well, you can learn how it works. Office 365 works the same everywhere, and that's what we have those courses for with Microsoft, to learn. If you learn how the backend Azure server works, then you could write out how all the monitoring and analysis works. I don't expect that because I want to get this done in like 2 days, but that is overall what would be helpful. And after I get this done written, read it and understand it at a technical level, because us providing technical consulting to other organizations is going to be one of the main focuses of our entire company. Okay, statement of experience. I will just go and find some stuff online about that now. There's Badadida. Okay, statement of experience. Okay, financial information and sustainability. What am I waiting on? As most development design teams function. We'll change this later, but it's good for now. Okay, so financial information and sustainability. We must provide a narrative description demonstrating the feasibility of the project. Okay, so I think I'm going to paste in here a budget narrative. Well, two things. We have a sustainability page on here, way down at the bottom. Sustainable vision for ongoing relations. Something like this. Because, yeah, M ends over here. Oh, here's the other sustainability section. So this is not relevant because it has to do with that other project. Actually, we're not going to keep this either. Yeah, they're not asking about our personnel. It's just weird. Okay, so sustainability. Somewhere up here. Sustainability. So we already have a lot of stuff if you want to look it up. If you go on the Dow Learning website and you go to our impact briefs, technical briefs, you could look at like our existing Ignite Curiosity and download that brief. And we might have a sustainability piece on here already. So this stuff where it says monitoring and evaluation, this is very accurate to what we need. And here is future funding and sustainability. So maybe I'll just copy this one in. But not only on this one, there might be other documents that you see here in the impact briefs that are very viable to this program. Does that make sense? So at least have some information in there to work on now. Okay, so financial information. So like I said on that, I'm probably going to bring in a budget narrative for this section. A description of the project's revenues and expenses in the project budget. Evidence of cost-sharing arrangements among Hub and this. Identification. Okay, so yes, I'm going to go into our files and I'm going to grab a budget narrative. So if we go back into the Dream Hub documents and I just type in budget narrative, it should bring up some examples. Click on one, booyah, there's a budget narrative. So let's open him up. You following along? Okay, and I'm going to copy all of this over into ours, and now I'm going to delete all of this. I'll just refer to the main document if I need to know what that said. I'll paste this in, and I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I say keep our existing formatting. Nope, that doesn't work. Nope. How about merge formatting? What does that look like? That looks pretty good, actually. Yeah, so I'll merge the formatting. It's not perfect, but it, it gives me a start point. And then I come in here, and from the top, the main thing I want to change, it's bugging me, is the lack of it being capital. So essentially, we have an itemized budget for each area, and then we give descriptions breaking down that budget. And that might not be what the USDA is asking for, but that's what's normal in other organizations. So let's go back online, and now let's look at the document. And this was section F. F. Okay, so what are they saying they want here? We must provide a narrative description of our feasibility, sufficient resources and expertise. So above here, this isn't going to be good enough. So we have a description of feasibility. What do we have after that? Description of feasibility of the project. Sufficient resources and expertise. And how the project will be sustained following completion. Okay. We also need to show that the funding is available for 3 years. Okay. And that it takes to put together the project and to ensure the project's continuance as a viable community resource. Provide a narrative description that addresses the feasibility. We should include a description of our leadership, so that's really what I wanted. I need to show project leadership, technical expertise, how expertise is distributed, through all sites, and then how funds flow to each site. How we will maintain, sustain continuity at each site. We should assume all the assumptions, a description of the revenue and expense in the budget, evidence of cost sharing, and identification of any other item okay. And second section is so I'm not sure if we're going to have the itemized budget down there. We probably will keep it. It's just very normal in how we write stuff. And just to give you an idea too, this is probably twice as long as any grant I've ever worked on. Well, it's a learning experience for you, and I don't think it's the best use of the time for the company, but it's not bad either. I mean, I'm recording everything, be able to share this with other people, and one of the main things I want other people to learn is my attitude. I take this very slowly, I bite it off piece by piece, and each day it gets a little more technical and a little closer to the end goal. Yes. All right, well, I think we covered quite a bit. I'm almost done. I just want to see if there's any small things that I can do before I take a break. Okay, yeah, like a small thing on this TSP plan, H. I have photos I found on that Ignite Curiosity page that I can pop in over here. But there we go. Okay, so if we open that brief up again. Yeah, here we go. Like this picture. We don't have that picture anywhere. So I have this file somewhere else. I want to go and open this file back where we have it. And we didn't put any of this information in yet, have we? It doesn't talk about... Say it again? Yeah, we have a similar graph, but we don't have all the verbiage. Methods and design. We don't have that. Activities. I guess I just want this one photo here. So I'm going to open that up, and so this was called the Ignite Curiosity Grant for Costa Rica. So if I go in our documents and I go in the Dream Hive, and I don't know, is it education, Costa Rica, and then here's our budget narrative, which we're not going to use. We're going to use the project narrative. Okay, and let's open him up. And this is before we were using the Dream Hub. We just did everything in normal files. So we don't even have a project in the Dream Hub to signify this. So here's this photo. I'm going to copy it, take it to ours, pop it up there in the telecommunications system plan. And I'm going to look in here to see if there's any other verbiage. I don't think there is. And let's go back again online. And let's see if these other ones, see that's coming soon. Silk Women, let's look at it, see if it says anything about a technical plan using Ignite Curiosity. Okay, not on that one. And that's essentially where we got our existing template from, so it's not really going to provide new stuff. Maybe Uzbekistan. There was a lot of stuff we could have gotten out of this one. Pakistan education. This didn't even ask for a sustainability thing, so Okay, there might have actually been some good stuff in here, and if you did want to read this over, this might help you understand our program better. I don't think I'm going to grab anything on there though, and then those are coming soon. Okay, so I feel like I've cheated as much as I can. The rest I'm going to write myself. But I am ready for a break. We covered quite a bit today. I'm going to look over it one more time just to see if... Oh, I'm on the wrong one. Let's close this out. Just to see if there's any like layout changes I messed up or anything like that. So we're going to update the table of contents now. Let's go to references and update the table. Okay, and then gonna get rid of the first line, pull that up, click away from it. So it's a 37-page grant so far. We have some stuff down at the very bottom where we don't need it all. So let's actually go down to the bottom and delete that stuff. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to scroll up until we're done. So all that's gone. Yeah, it's going to get way longer because they want me to add a lot of attachments in here. Okay, so now that I did that, let's update this even again. Update table. Okay, delete that line out. Don't need it, but I want this to start on the next page. Okay, so now it's pretty easy for our team to go through and start, you know, just seeing how are we doing. Is it in the right format? And I don't know why these words look different here. That's big, that's small. It must mean on that page I wrote that small as a title. And we will be fixing that. And the reason we will is this might become a standard template we use in the future. All right, so let's just walk through it one time to see if everything's good from the top. Okay, so we still need to fix number 7. I'm going to give it a color. Special consideration. Okay, participating site list, publicly releasable information, and then scoring card, economic need, special consideration. Then we start in this. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. I'll grab this once I come back on here. Scope of work. That page still looks nice. This looks good. Looking good. Looking good. Looks good. Looks good. Looks good. Good, good. Artificial intelligence then ends. So what was supposed to be down there? All the timelines afterwards. I'm fine keeping that gap for now. Budget worksheet kind of goes off the edge of the page, but we're going to replace this anyway, so we'll come back, fix that later. Financial information. Need to fill it in. Feasibility, huh? How about we call it feasibility? Okay. Then we have our budget narrative. And then statement of experience. That's actually accurate. It just needs to be fixed up better for this actual proposal. Telecommunication system. It needs a lot of help done to it. Telecommunication system. One more thing I'll add in there. So on the Focus Hive, this photo here, I'm wondering how I can add that photo in. Let's go in Visio. I just don't know what he's called. IT overview maybe. Let's see. I don't know the names of my own files, but we're going to open up a few. Nope, that's not it. I don't think this one's it either. Nope. I need to come up with better names for these. Ignite Curiosity. What is that one? Oh, this is all this stuff. Well, did we bring everything in here that we made? We brought that one in, brought that one in, brought that in. Yep, so we don't need this anymore. Let's go to open. Ooh, here's a lot more. Overview, nope. Company structure, nope. Focus areas. It's kind of like that, but not that one. There we go. That's what I want. IT overview, but I have like 4 files called IT overview. I just want to see what it looks like if we drag it into our document. It is a Visio file, and Visio is made by Microsoft, so when we pop this in here, it should be a somewhat seamless transition. But that does have a black background. This has a white background. Alright, it looks good. Kind of. This one's going to need to be changed. But yeah, the rest looks fine. And then I'll get a copy of this one too. Why does he have that blue outline on him? Oh, it's because I put him inside the title. So I need him after the title. Wonder if we needed that big. And we can also take this whole thing, and I will do that right now. I'm going to go File, Save As, and where are we going to save him to? As a what? That still doesn't make sense. I mean, what do you mean they're all connected? All of these, yeah, they all connect with each other. It doesn't have to be. I'll write about it here. Yeah, it doesn't have to be. I think it's easier to see this way. Yeah. And I think that is what they're wanting us to do. They're wanting us to say, well, how are you using telecommunications? And this is a breakdown of how our server works. So, automated intelligence. So we are going to add more here, which is probably going to make this go on a new page. Then we'll have that. I'm just going to add some text in here, just to have some random text to start us out. Then we have this one. We'll have some random text underneath him. And I don't know if I'll make him smaller with text on the side of him. So slow. There we go. And this is too small. Well, no, that's actually at 99%. So this is the size the page would be. I think it's big enough to see what's going on there. What do you think? I'll fix it with a better photo in here. But anyway, what I'm going to do on my Visio is I'm going to save this into, I'll put it in our assets folder. This folder is specifically for the distant learning program, and I will call it the server architecture. And then just for future use for everyone else, I want to upload it back into this area. So where are we? Here we go. Distant learning. These are assets, and I'm going to pop them in here. So he's on my desktop assets and my blind. Oh, there he is. Okay, so I'll exit out here for now, close this out, and I'll drag and drop him online. Server architecture. So yeah, I want to empower other people so they don't need me to make this kind of stuff. So now he's saved up there. Okay, so going back to our document, essentially what I'm doing, I'm just wrapping up for my day on what I want to see happen on this. So we have a telecommunication plan. I'm going to get rid of down management, I believe. Possibly. I might even change that with global enterprise. I'm actually getting rid of down management as the main service provider for all of this. Down management is going to be for my own company, and global enterprise is for our customers. Okay, so we go through statement of experience. We move on to a telecommunication system plan. Now it looks super high end, very high end. We have a very nice system put together. Breaks down this. We just need to talk about it a little bit more. Let me put some more info in here. Guess I didn't like that extra sentence. There we go. We have that there. All right, moving on. What page are we on? 31 of 38. Then we have logistics, this. We talk about our graphs. We talk about monitoring, textual monitoring. More of this, learning data. And that's the chart they want us to add in once we get into this. But there's actually going to be I1 all the way through I5 right here the next time we come in. And evidence of legal existence. I'm going to take my documents, put in there, and we're done. So you have anything to add before we end for the day on this? Okay, so I feel good too. Thanks for joining. I'm going to go ahead and stop this.